Hello, my name is Maria Mata and we're here from Access ASU. Today we'll be talking about effective note-taking, a technique that will be essential for our success in high school and beyond. I will share a few basics of note-taking, some tips. I will share some methods of note-taking that other students have done. And we will end with the all notes are created equal activity, hoping that this activity helps you identify a method of note-taking that may be successful for you. So just to start off, I wanted to take a moment to think about why it may be important for us to take notes. So of course, there are many benefits as to taking notes and many reasons why we should take notes, but I think they all boil down to helping us comprehend, so understanding everything we have learned, helping us retain a lot of that information so that it can be a study tool for when we do have those exams coming. Our notes can help us organize everything we have learned, and then just if we have any questions or doubts or anything we didn't understand, this is a study tool that we can refer back to for clarification. So I just wanted to share a few tips to help us prepare for note taking and then what we should do after we have taken those notes. So before class, of course, we want to bring the right materials. So making sure that you do have some paper, pencils, or pens or highlighters, whatever you feel that will help you take the best notes. A very important tip is to help you to encourage you to put away any and all distractions. I think a big one that most of us can agree can be a big distraction is our phone. I personally like to put it on silent because even if I have it on vibrate in my pocket, even though it's away, if I feel vibration, I am tempted to pull it out of my pocket and just see what that notification is. So making sure you're putting away your phone distraction. Another distraction may be our peers in class. So maybe our best friend is in class or just someone that we're able to chit chat and be easily distracted. So making sure that you are sitting away from someone or something that may be a distraction to you, but also taking a step back and thinking, are we also being a distraction? So making sure that not only are you away from distractions, but you're not being a distraction to others as well. And then lastly, to just review material. So if you did take notes the day before, or if you were assigned an article, a book, to help you prepare for you to take notes today, making sure that you do review those prior to class. And then so some tips of what to do after you took those notes. So after class, making sure that you're reviewing your notes that you took, reorganizing if necessary. I know that sometimes when I'm taking notes, I will rewrite them because during class, my teacher may speak too fast. So I will just write super fast. So then after class, in reviewing them, I will go back and fix my sloppy handwriting or just reorganize them to help me better understand in the future. So if there's anything that we didn't understand, making sure that you use the time after class. Don't let too many days pass. Try to ask the day of or maybe the next day for any clarification as needed. I would like for all of you to start summarizing your notes. So maybe we took tons of notes in that class period, but we're not going to have time to review every single page of notes come test day. So making that habit of just rephrasing, resummarizing what you learned that day. So when it comes back to revising your notes, you can essentially just review that summary. And then if you couldn't get any clarification from your teacher, you can also get clarification from any classmates. So this can be getting together with the group just to check your knowledge, or maybe there was something you didn't understand, but your peer did, and vice versa, or just helping each other study. So additional tips when taking notes. So one is to always date and title your notes. If you're like me, when I was in high school, although I did have a binder, and yes, I did have dividers, I didn't use them how I'm supposed to use them. So not dating my notes or titling them. If I just shove them in my binder when the bell rings, my math notes may end up with my English divider. Of course, you can tell numbers from words, right? But had it been like my history notes blended into my English notes, if I am able to refer to the date in the title, I am able to then reorganize my notes and my binder. So making sure you always put your name, your date, and the title. And then always recording, remember to only record meaningful facts. So if you were taking notes right now, making sure that you're not writing everything that's on this slide, so not in word for word, but making sure that you're picking up key words, or maybe just shortening the phrase, a sentence, to help you take quicker and more effective notes. If you do have a class that has a textbook, or maybe you had to read an article with it, following along that textbook if you're able to. And then when taking notes, if you want to use a highlighter or underline, or maybe just a different color of pen or pencils, color pencils, to help you with your memory. So if your teacher is saying something like a verbal cue, if she's repeating something multiple times, that's probably a clue that that's something important that we should be remembering. If maybe on their PowerPoint they have something underlined, or they have something in bold, or they have something that just keeps a similar word that keeps coming up on multiple slides, making sure that you're taking that approach also of underlining, highlighting it, making a box around it, just to help you identify that that was something that was repeated as a clue. And then if your teacher shares any examples that may not be visually on the PowerPoint or on a worksheet, if they're just verbally sharing any example, making sure you're jotting those down. And then just making notes of any ideas or questions that you had, so anything you didn't understand. So when you do go back and to clarify with your teacher, you can just refer to that section where you identified any questions. And then just something that we wanted to share was the curve of forgetting. So this is just a method that tells us how our memory works. So on day one, for example, say you're in math class and you learn the quadratic formula. You took really good notes, you know how to do it perfect, so you know 100% of that lesson. On day two, if you did not revise your notes, so if you didn't take a second look at them, you may have already lost up to between 50 to 80% of what you learned. To me, that is drastic. So by day 30, when maybe it's now test day, because you have not reviewed your notes, now you only remember about 2 to 3% of what you learned that day. So this goes to show how our memory needs some repetition. So if you can see, it's suggesting that you do 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and 2 to 4 minutes till day 30. So in order for us to avoid this curve, on day one, you want to actively listen and lecture, take some really good notes. On day two, you still want to go back and review those notes for at least 10 minutes. This is a chance where this is opportunity for you to maybe reorganize or just rewrite your notes. Between day 2 to day 6, you want to review those notes for 10 minutes. From day 7 to day 7, you can review 5 minutes. And then from day 8 and on, it will only take 2 to 4 minutes for you to retain most, if not all, of the information that you learned on day 1. So again, just to summarize this, on day 1, you know 100% of this lecture, making sure that on day 2, you review for at least 10 minutes, and then day 7 and on 5 minutes, and then day 8, then it will only require 2 to 4 minutes. So the way that I see this is, if you think about it in terms of, okay, I didn't review anything and now it's day 30, I'm going to try to cram 3 to 4 hours a night up to review my notes. If I break it up into 5 to 10 minute increments each day, I don't have to try to cram everything. And then we all know that when we try to cram things for 2 to 4 hours, we may somehow remember it, but we may not necessarily understand it. But if you practice this curve of reviewing actively every day, not only will you be able to remember it, but you will definitely be able to understand it. So I just wanted to share a couple of notes, a couple of examples that other students have done, just to give you an idea that maybe some of us are used to the most popular one, which is our first one, the Cornell notes. I know that when I was in school, this was always emphasized to me. I still kind of take notes like this, but This is not the only method to take notes. It's a great method. If it is currently what you're using and it works, that's great. If this is what you're using and you feel like this is not being very successful for you, we just want to share other examples so that you're able to compare and find the best one for you. So example one, I'll leave it up for a couple of seconds for anyone who is not familiar with Cornell Note style. This is our Cornell Note style. So example two, this is more of a style of more of a web style. So I personally, in my learning style, I don't think I could use this for like math, but maybe I could use it for English in writing an essay and finding topics and details for my paragraphs and so forth. And then this another example, this is kind of more of an outline. So if you can see, they start with the topic and then they do subtopics and then more subtopics. So we're just sharing examples and I'll leave them up for a couple of seconds so you can observe the different examples that students have done. And then a last example is typed notes. So I know with our time, some of us may have classrooms that are virtual. Maybe some of us have laptops at our school. So this one looks very, very neat. This can also be if, say, you already took your handwritten notes and again, you want to go back and fix them. Maybe you wrote really sloppy because the teacher was talking too fast, or maybe you weren't able to organize them. If you have the time and the resources to make your notes typed, they can look super organized like this. So this is a way to review them. So the more that you reorganize your notes, the more that you're reviewing them and the more that you'll remember. So I just shared a couple examples just because I know that we all have different learning styles, but also we all know that our teachers have different teaching styles. So just helping you identify, okay, this note will help me because in this class, because this is how I learn, but also this is, my teacher uses technology, my teacher uses a PowerPoint, my teacher uses a book. So an outline will help me or a web will help me. Or maybe as I mentioned for math, I don't think I can use this. Maybe more of an outline for math, whatever it may be for you. I don't think I can use a type method for math because it's like, for me, it's just hard to be inputting numbers and formulas, but each to their own. So I just wanted to share a couple examples that some of our students have done. And then, so for our next activity, which is called Not All Notes Are Created Equal, I want you to take a moment to review your current note-taking method. And then if you currently don't have one and you're like, well, I never really take notes, I want you to go through the ones we have previously shared. So I know there's 4 examples, or you can definitely explore the web for other examples that other students may have done. And I just want you to think back and identify, what do you like or not like about your current method or style? What are some helpful strategies? Or how could your current method be improved? And then could your current method or a method that you picked, could this be applied to all subjects? And then maybe, is there any methods that you can combine? So we're hoping that you use this activity to find the best fit for you. Again, you may use multiple for different topics, or you can use a combination all at once. And then I just wanted to share a couple more tips. So I found this to be very, very true, at least as when I was in school and I would take notes and helping me prepare for exams. So just remember the 5 R's of note taking. So record. So during a lecture or class, making sure you're writing down meaningful information and legibly, so making sure that you do go back and organize your notes so that you're able to read it when you do come to the review. So record and then reduce. So after lecture class, making sure you're writing a summary of the ideas and facts using keywords or cues. So if you are in the habit of writing word for word, making sure that you take a step back and start writing phrases, or just if you took like 4 pages of notes, making sure you're writing that summary that we suggested earlier. And then recite. So recite all the information in your own words without looking at your own notes. So this is where it comes, where you just review it multiple times will help you not only remember it, but it will help you understand it. So making sure that you're reciting it, and then at some point you won't even need your notes. And then reflect. So think about your own opinions and ideas, raise questions, and record any original ideas. So making sure that you're reflecting, okay, did I understand all of this content? If there's anything you didn't, making sure you're getting that clarification. Or even, I know this, especially for English or for history, when they ask you share some examples, just reflecting, applying it to your own opinions and ideas. So when it comes to those example questions, you have something that you have already reflected on. And then lastly, review, which I will emphasize a million times, review as much as possible. And as the curve showed us, if you review for at least 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 to 4 minutes each day, you will retain a lot more of the information than just putting it away after day 1 and then not only remembering 2 to 3%. So making sure you're reviewing before reading new material. Take 10 minutes to review your older notes, skim over the main ideas and details. And then just a couple of other tips that I wanted to share that I personally use is when you're studying and reviewing these notes, making sure that you're finding a designated spot. So I know that I can't personally study in the living room, in the kitchen, because there's a lot of noise, or I have younger nieces and nephews or siblings. So making sure that you designate a spot where you're distraction free. I also like to listen to like classical music or just music with no lyrics, and it helps me just focus because I have that background noise. And then, or doing something that will help you focus. So I know, like, I have a couple of friends that they say they like to chew gum, or they like to eat something specific that will help them focus. Making sure that you're putting, as like in class, making sure that you're putting the distractions away. So I have the habit of trying to sit down and study for 2 to 3 hours, and I've noticed that that's not successful for me. So what I've been practicing is I will put a timer for 20 minutes. I will have to focus, and then I'll give myself 5-minute breaks. That just helps me stay focused and not just exhaust my brain with tons of information for 3-hour block period. So taking those small breaks can also be a way to help you study better. And then as for taking notes, I personally like to use different colors, highlighters, just to help me emphasize, okay, my red pen is going to circle anything that I need more understanding. My yellow highlighter, green highlighter, this is something that my teacher kept emphasizing. So those are just some tips that I personally do with my notes. Again, I encourage you to take some time to look over the examples I shared, ask your peers what kind of methods they're using to take notes, explore the internet. I know that when I was looking at methods, there was tons and tons of examples of notes. There's also tons of other videos that help you actually walk you through the process of how to take the notes and write them, and maybe even how to better your handwriting. So practice your handwriting. So when you do have a professor that speaks super fast, then you're able to understand your own handwriting. So these are just some tips that I wanted to share. And then back to a tip that I forgot for reviewing. We do have, so the web can be our best friend or not our best friend, but if we use it the right ways, it can be very, very resourceful. There is a site called Quizlet that can help you create study guides for you. So it can create flashcards, it can create little flip books, whatever you may be. You will just have to type in your notes, which again will be another way of reviewing it because you're retyping them. And then it will create flashcards for you that you can print or you can access on your phone or on your computer. So those are just some quick tips and resources that I wanted to share on note taking. Hoping that you're able to find the best fit for you. Again, we all learn different, so whatever method is working for you. If it's already working, continue to do it. If it's not working, try something new. If that doesn't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, combine them. Just it's a trial and error for everything. And again, maybe something that's working this year may not necessarily work for the next class, but at least you have resources of different notes that you can or should be taking. So I just wanted to thank you for listening. If you do have any additional questions, or if you would like more resources on college readiness or resources to help you be successful in high school, please visit our Access ASU website, or you can contact us at our email, accessasu@asu.edu, or that is our office phone number as well. If you do have any social media, feel free to follow us. We do share a lot of resources and any upcoming events that are coming for you to come visit ASU. So thank you for listening and best of luck in your note taking.